All right, what's up, family? It's your boy John Bacon from the Bacon Bits Podcast. Thank you so much for your support, likes, and ratings. Please don't just listen, but rate me, follow me, and subscribe. This is an amazing way to offer free support. My beautiful queen and I have some books that we have written for your growth.
So the first book we have is a workbook, actually. It's called Healthy Relationships, and this is a workbook through the lens of faith. Because what makes a relationship healthy or unhealthy? So this workbook is designed, it's a 12-week, it's a biblically grounded course, and every week has a few different principles. So if some of our principles, some of our topics that we're covering are respect, cultivating security. And this is not just between a husband and wife. This is between parents, between siblings, between friends, between your bosses, employers. So it's really important, and everyone deserves a healthy relationship.
And also we have The Balanced Life by John Bacon. It covers how to be prosperous in your finances, relationships, your health, your mind, and your spirit. And we also have
The Unraveling, a creative healing journal, pinings, poems, prayers, and ponderings of my precarious life. I've had a testimony of I've had 2 brain tumors and 2 brain surgeries, and I'm super grateful, but I'm still grieving the process of healing. And this is part of the process. In this book, you have devotionals, you have prayers, and you have some ponderings. And in between these pages, there's a space for you to also be prompted to paint and to create your own, or maybe you want to write something in these books. This is part of your creative healing journal that we get to walk through together.
And you guys can just head over to Kingdom Servants First. Kingdom Servants, the number 1, st.com. And you can purchase all 3 of these books. Thank you for your support, your love, and your contributions. God bless. Another great way to discover yourself is to learn from your mistakes and move on. My God, can I speak on this? What's up, family? Welcome to the Bacon Bits Podcast, where we desire for you to take the bits of information and immediately apply them to your life for success. The ground rules for our podcast is that it will always be encouraging, uplifting, and informative. The areas of life that we will be talking about on the Bacon Bits Podcast is dealing with having a balanced life. And you guys know I love hearing these 5 words right here. Say them out loud for me, please. While you're driving, working, doing whatever it is that you're doing. Say these out loud. I know the people around you might look at you like you're crazy, but go ahead and say them out loud. Say valuable. Information applied equals success. And why do I always say this? Because I don't give a care how much you know about making $1 million, saving $1 million, and investing $1 million. I'm going to ask you a question. Let me see your bank account. The proof is in the pudding. We can say all day long we love our mama and daddy, sister and brothers, aunties, uncles, nephews, nieces, cousins, grandmama, granddaddy, husbands, wives, kids, our dogs, and our cats. I'm not going to ask your opinion. I'm going to go ask them. Because if you really love them, they will experience and be able to tell me about the love that you have for them. You can tell me all day long that you should eat right, you should get proper rest, and you should do some type of exercise. Only thing I'm going to do is look at you. That's not being judgmental. That's just you saying to me, this is what you believe, but I'm not seeing the results of that being applied. Mentally, man, we should hang around our elders and glean more wisdom, go to school, take classes, get our degrees, get our certifications, all that wonderful stuff. But are you actually doing it spiritually? Man, I know I'm supposed to pray, read my Bible, go to church, hang around with my brothers and sisters. That sounds beautiful. Are you actually doing it? It's one thing to have the information. It's another thing to apply it. Because the biggest battle you're going to have on this planet is between your head and your heart. And I already know personally which one is going to win 100% of the time. It's your heart. It has nothing to do with your head. So what we're going to be talking about on this wonderful episode is how to know yourself. Do you know you? Tips for beginning your self-discovery journey, man. So life, it moves fast, man. We got errands to run. We got work to do. We got commitments to uphold. But learning how to begin self-discovery could be the last thing that's on your mind. Because, we don't be thinking about that stuff, man. Our busy routines rarely give us time to consider what kind of life we actually want. Do you reflect on who you are while standing in line at the grocery store? More likely not. It can be hard to find the space to discover and become your most authentic self. Boy, that's been a big term I've been hearing a lot lately. Being your authentic self, your true self to you. But however, there are endless benefits that make taking the time worth it. If you're wondering how to begin self-discovery, know that the first steps to making a commitment to yourself is actually doing that. Make a commitment to yourself to know you, man. So many people, and I always say this, man. I mean, it seems like I say it a lot. People go to school for 13 years, counting, kindergarten, and man, they graduate with a diploma, go across that stage, and they have no idea the kind of person that they are. They've studied social studies, they studied math, they studied English, they studied all history, they studied all these things in school and never took a class on themselves. Took a class on who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? So, man, make a commitment to yourself that as you end this year, this is a great time to do a self-analysis on yourself, a great time to do inventory on yourself and say, man, you know what? I finished the year off knowing this about me. I took some new risks. I tried some new things. Beautiful. Some of it worked. Some of it didn't work, So what are we going to do about that? So your journey will require you to focus, take action, and prioritize your needs. Remember, you can't make a change without putting in the work, man. This is going to be work, man. And the greatest thing I can ever ask you is this investment worth it? And your answer should be, hell yeah, it's worth it. You got that right. So you ready to find out how to begin your self-discovery journey, man? Let's start by defining what self-discovery is. Self-discovery is the process of understanding your true self. So that means your values, your needs, and your wants, even if what foods you like and dislike. All that ought to be up in there. Are you a shower person in the morning, a shower person at night? Are you a person that you like certain type of foods, throughout the day or throughout the week, little snacks, little things that you like to do for yourself? Do you like to get up early in the morning or stay up late at night? How many things that we can ask ourselves to really discover who we are as individuals? You might have naturally learned some of these things by yourself over time. That's just life. Yet for a lot of people, we have a way of losing touch with ourselves and our values. Man, because if you are a people person, guess what you're trying to always do? Please others and make sure they're doing all right. And in the process, you lose yourself. You lose touch with your values and hiding your own motivations and preferences, even from yourself. Going deeper into self-discovery can transform your life. And that's what we want to do. It's one thing to know your personality type or your favorite meal, but true self-discovery starts when you evaluate your life and think about what's energizing and what's not energizing to you. What will bring more joy into your life? Have you asked yourself that question? What inspires you to jump out of bed each morning? Have you asked yourself that question? Once you've discovered more about yourself, you'll have an easier time finding your life's purpose and being your authentic self, whether that's in your work, in your personal life, and understanding what has been missing from your life will help you learn more about yourself. But don't think you can finish your journey overnight. Man, this is going to take a while, man. This is going to take some time for you to intentionally invest in yourself and discover the kind of person that you are. Because self-discovery is an ongoing process. You never will have graduated. This is something that you're always going to be doing and should be doing intentionally on a personal basis, always ongoing. Because the man that I am in my 50s is not the man that I am in my 30s. It's not, man. I'm almost a totally different creature as the man that I am in my 50s. It requires for me to dive in and examine all areas of my life and take time to reflect. Why do I do what I do? Whether that's financially, why do I believe about money the way I believe about money? Whether that is, what is it going to take for me to have healthy relationships with the people that's around me? Whether it's tinkering with my health. I don't work out as hard as I used to. I do way more stretching than I used to. I know it's more of the diet plan work versus me working out because my body doesn't burn off the calories. And that's just using a couple examples of the different changes that I've had to make in the last, 20 years and will continue to make in my, 50s, the rest of my 50s and, ongoing until, I actually leave this earth. I need to have courage and resilience to stick with the process of me learning myself, because at times you will see stuff that you do in your own life and you will be frustrated with you. You will. I've been frustrated at, why do I, handle money the way I handle money sometime, or how do I talk to people sometime when I'm having a moment? It's not the person that I'm talking to. It's usually me. So I have to stick with the process of me learning me, fixing things, and moving forward. I got to learn things about myself that are hard to accept, because I believe all of us have some kryptonite. I love Superman. I love the fact that mug can do a whole lot of stuff. But every superhero that I love has kryptonite. They have some kind of weakness in themselves, and they have to stay away from that weakness in order to become the best version of themselves, because you're not going to be great at everything. I will guarantee you can find somebody that's a podcaster that can tell you way more better techniques on how to make money, save money, and invest money. I guarantee you're going to find people that's been married for way longer than I have and are great in their marriage. I guarantee you, you're going to find people that's more healthier in their 50s than I am. I guarantee you, you're going to find people that's more wiser than I am. I'm going to guarantee you that you're going to find people that are more spiritual than I am. So what the hell, John, why am I listening to you? Well, the reason why is because I specialize in people laying their foundation back correctly again. The reason why I love working in alcohol and drug rehab is because guess what? For a lot of people, they have never discovered themselves. Never. I had one guy that literally told me this past week, he said, John, I have to learn myself. And he's in his 40s. He doesn't know himself. He's been a drug addict since he was in his teens. And he's never known the true version of himself. So that's the thing that I love helping people do, is helping them discover a foundation to lay their life down. And then from that on, you can just build on that better and better and better, stronger and stronger, faster and faster, wiser, wiser. So discovering your inner self also requires a lot of self-awareness, otherwise known as self-knowledge. Self-knowledge usually refers to your knowledge of your own feelings, beliefs, and your desires. One of the things I can honestly say is I love when people ask me questions about my relationship with Jesus. I really do, because it makes me understand, why do I believe what I believe, and why do I trust the way I trust when it comes to him? Why do I do the things that I do? If you have more of this in your life, you have a better emotional regulations in your life. You know you understand you. This will help you better your personal and work relationships and improve your stress management. And I love telling y'all, I very rarely stress. I've learned the secret to life for me is to control the things that you can and let the rest go. Control what you can control and let the rest go. And the closest thing I can give to you when I use the story of me loving on my queen, man, I try my best to love my wife the way no man has loved her before. Her daddy, her brothers, she ain't got no brothers, brother-in-laws, whoever it may be. I want to love her the best that I possibly can. But I always ask people this: can I make her love me back? I can't. So me stressing and worrying about that is going to change nothing. But the part that I can control is loving her the way she deserves to be loved. Knowing more about the way your mind works also improves your empathy. It helps you exercise better self-control. It helps you be more creative and have higher self-esteem. You'll even be more honest as a result. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We need you to be a person who is impeccable with their word. And I need you to be impeccable with your word to yourself. When you make a vow to yourself, we want you to be able to keep it. We want you to have a great relationship with you. We don't want you doubting you no more. We don't want you putting yourself down anymore. We literally want you to be honest with yourself. And when you speak something to yourself, you fulfill the very thing that you've spoken in a positive light. There are endless benefits to learning how to start a self-discovery journey. The important thing is to take the first step and get started. Make that commitment and then get started. So how do we start a self-discovery journey? You may feel intimidated by the prospects of embarking on a journey of self-discovery because guess what? You, and there's a lot to you. You are not a simple person. You are not very easy to study and to understand. As long as you have been with you, there are times you don't even know you and some of the things that you'll do in certain situations. So where do we even begin? The steps of self-discovery aren't set in stone. They're not. There's no set process of how you should do this. It means you can start with whatever area you want to start in. Remember that having the courage to begin the journey is already admirable. So keep the momentum going. So these are just a few of the tips, man. You ain't got to pick all of these tips, but a great way to start self-discovery is to work on being your best self each day, no matter what you're doing. So I heard this sometime this year. If I could just become 1% better today than I was yesterday, I would be all right. You say 1%, brother, you got to do a little bit more than that. No. I said it right. 1% better today than I was yesterday. Because if you think about it, at the end of the year, that's 365% better than you was the year before. So what's one thing that you can do today that's going to make you better than you were yesterday? Another thing that you can do is take risk and try new things. This can be scary. Okay. Me talking to you on this microphone right now was not even nowhere on the radar this year. Nowhere, not even close. I mean, I can't even imagine the thought of me doing a podcast at the beginning of this year. I can literally think back on what my goals were this year, and podcasting was nowhere on the radar. But I was blessed to meet this wonderful young lady, Shay. And she's my producer of this podcast. My friend Earl, who introduced me to Shay so I can start doing podcasting. And I'm taking the risk to think that, I know a little something. So let me share my little something that I know with the world. And it has been a blessing, a joy, and so much fun because I took a risk this year on trying to do something new. Hone in on your passions and what makes you excited. So me helping people become the best that they can be, man, is my life's goals, dreams, desires, and the gift that God gave. To help people draw closer to God and to help people be the best version of themselves. So I think about this literally every day. This is the thing that gets me out the bed in the morning. Don't need an alarm clock. I know I'm going to get up in the morning before the alarm clock goes off. And I know I'm going to spend time with God, get my health in order by doing me some little stretching or some little working out routine, man. But then I'm going to be super excited because I'm going to go into work and get a chance to speak to people and help them have the best life that they can have. And I only speak about the 5 areas that y'all always constantly going to hear me speak about. You will never hear me speak about cars and, trains and airplanes and how to fix the house and how to work a computer. Man, I'm allergic to that stuff. You going to hear me talking about how to have a great life, the stuff that I wish we was taught in school. So that's the stuff that I hone in on. Understand your strengths and think about how you can apply them everywhere. So because I talk about the balanced life, how can I apply that to every area of my life? And once again, that's in every area of my life. Starting a journal and journal your thoughts so you can reflect on them later. Take a journal and keep track of your life. It is so cool to be able to go back in 1988. I know some of y'all weren't even born then. And I can go back to 1988 and look at my journal of when I first moved to Tucson, Arizona. And what was my thought process at a 21-year-old versus what it is right now as a 55-year-old. It is so cool to look back over your life and see how far you have come. So I would suggest, I would encourage you to start journaling in your life, man. Start journaling, because if you can look back over your life. I had a young man whose father passed away this year, and he told me his dad kept a journal for the last 21 years. And it's so cool for him to go back, read his dad's journals, and see how much he thinks just like his dad. I think that is so cool. So for parents that's out there, start keeping a journal so your kids can see. The reason why I wrote the book that I wrote, The Balanced Life, is so I can leave behind to my kids the thought process of how I think. I love talking about these 5 areas. So make sure you surround yourself with people who support you. That's a great way to discover yourself, because, we see ourselves one way, but other people see us another way. So a great way to discover yourself is, man, how do I come off? When I'm talking to you, do I come off like I think I know everything, or am I coming off as super shy or super nervous? How do you see me acting in certain lights? So a great way to have self-discovery for yourself at the end of this year, starting into your new year, is to get around people who love you and support you. That would be huge. Another great way to discover yourself is to learn from your mistakes and move on. My God, can I speak on this? I can reflect on, when I had to file for bankruptcy. Now my credit score is at 800. Super excited about that. I can reflect back on my first marriage that went terrible, but now I'm in the marriage of my dreams. I've been to hell before. Now I'm in heaven. And let me reflect back on, what decisions did I make that's helped me learn from the mistake that I had made in the past. Growing up without a dad, that wasn't a mistake that I made, but can I learn from that mistake to become the father that I've always wanted to be? So it's so awesome as a self-discovering process, is to learn from mistakes that you've made and move on. Do not stay stuck. Have your aha moment. What is aha? AHA. Awakening. Wake up and say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired in this area. 2, H. I need you to be brutally honest with yourself on why you're in the predicament that you're in. And then 3rd, A. What's the action steps you're going to take to change your life? AHA, aha. And we don't have a lot of these in our lives. I wish we did. But when we do have these aha moments, that's when life takes a drastic change, and hopefully a drastic change for the better. Great way to think of self-discovery is think back on your childhood and connecting with your inner child again. I love something that I heard, and I know it sounds crazy for some people, but I need you to parent yourself the way you wish somebody would have parented you. Yeah. I father me and become the father that I wanted to be. I wish I would have had. So I father my kids that way, and I think about the young John Bacon that I wish would have had the dad that he wish he would have had. So I reflect back on that sometimes. Be curious and ask questions. If you feel like you've arrived and you don't need to know nothing else in life, I feel sorry for you. We are still supposed to be curious and ask questions. We still are supposed to be trying to figure this thing out called life. Yes, I have a wonderful book that I read called the Bible, and it gives me some great insight to a lot of things. But some of the questions I would ask is, there's no workout plans in the Bible. There's some great illustrations, but there's no workout plan. I guess I got to go figure that out. Ask somebody that's a bodybuilder or a fitness coach. Let me go ask them some questions. Financially, there's some great principles in the Bible about finances, but Bitcoin is not in the Bible. Real estate, kind of, sort of. When it talks about land, that's in the Bible. Stocks, that wasn't in there either. So there are some things that the Bible teaches me, and there's some things that I have to go and ask people questions about so I can be successful in different areas. I have to build habits and support my personal growth and goals. So building habits. If I'm not happy with where my life is at, let me make some small changes that I can change that can make my life where I want it to be at as I'm discovering me. What's some new habits I need to make? Let me take the chance and take some risk in investing. New habits. Let me try a new workout routine. Let me try some habits of let me fix my diet so I can eat healthier foods and have way more variety. Some thought processes of how I think and new habits of let me say something positive 3 times a day about myself. Let me check in with God, throughout the day instead of just at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day. There's some new habits that you can try that will help you have a great life in discovering who you are on your journey. And then practice self-talk, man. Reward yourself for the wins. Say out loud. Feel proud of yourself, man. I know I'm already super excited about this episode because this is the week that I reflect back on how my year went. So one of those things that I'm going to give myself kudos on and pat myself on the back is, guess what? I took the risk and started a podcast so I could speak to people and help them have a great life. That's one of the positive self-talks. Man, dude. We got a nice little savings account. Oh man, we did pretty good. Sweet. Me and my queen. We got dibs on trying to go see my son over in Greece this year. So I'm super excited on the new year coming up. So man, give yourself kudos for some of the positive things that you've done. Please don't just constantly be beating yourself down. Make sure you're doing some things that you speak out loud about how good of a job you did. We ain't saying you say you better than somebody, but you also give yourself kudos. Because one of the biggest praisers in your life ought to be you and God. He's saying how good of a job you did, and you ought to be like, man, I'm proud of myself for trying to do something different, or I was successful in those areas. So that's really important. So as you work to improve your sense of self-awareness, here are 7 elements to keep in mind. Really think about this. Reflect on where you started and what you've accomplished each day. So how did you start the day? And then what you accomplish at the end of the day. Every day you ought to be able to look back over your day and say, you know what, I was able to accomplish this today. Tomorrow, same thing. Start the day off. Where am I at? Okay, what would I like to accomplish today? And then at the end of the day, reflect on what you went and tried to achieve that day. Zero in on what gives you energy and what zaps your energy. So I know first thing in the morning, if I get up and read my Bible, I'm going to listen to a positive motivational video, and I'm going to do some stretching. I know that gives me crazy energy for the rest of my day. And I know if I wake up dragging, if I don't wake up and, put something positive on my mind first thing in the morning, if I don't read my Bible and get close to God and pray, I know those things are zapping my energy and I don't have nothing to flow off of for the rest of the day. So these are things you need to find out what gives you energy to start your morning. And once you find out what that thing is, man, you do that every day so you'll have the energy that you need to become the person that you need to become. Visualize the person you want to be. That's a great thing as far as self-discovery. Start visualizing it, man. One of the things I love doing with the clients is I always tell them, because when they start, getting that negative funk, I'll ask them, close your eyes, and I need you to visualize when you were at your best. You and your family was flowing good. Man, everything was wonderful. You was at a job that you liked. You was coming to work excited every day. Man, it was just beautiful. Sometimes I have to have them visualize the person that they were when they were at their best so we can start working on the person that they want to be. So visualize the best that you've ever been and then start working on what it is that you want to be. Follow through with your passions and interests that lead you. Yeah, follow through with your passions, man. I like when I'm reading in the morning, I like to read about subjects that I want to talk about on the podcast. I like to read about subjects that I'm dealing with in life, and then systematically read my Bible to hear the different stories and the different principles that God is teaching in his word. So I follow my passion of wanting to become closer to God. So follow your passions and the interests that lead you. Don't just focus on the negative stuff that you do, man. Focus on the positive. And visualize that stuff, and then follow that passion, man. Follow that gift, that calling, that talent that leads you, that gives you excitement and joy throughout your day. Let go of the inner critic. That's another one in self-discovery, because there's nobody on this planet, and I mean this, there's nobody on this planet that can tear me down like me. Nobody. Can't nobody even come close to tearing me down like I can. So one of those things that I have to work on is watching that I do not go into a rage and tear myself down for doing something stupid. The one thing this actually was last year, but it was so vivid to me, is when we had just got our RV, and we didn't even have the RV, I think, even 2 weeks, and I tore the fabric on the top of the RV, and it cost us about $4 or $5 grand to get it fixed. Man, I cussed me up one side and down the other. I was so pissed off at myself. I mean, I was mad, fuming, and I was verbally tearing me a new one. And all my wife had to say was, baby, if I'd have done that, what would you have done? I'd have been like, oh, baby, it's all right. Don't even worry about it. We got insurance money to get that fixed. It's going to be all right. And all she said was, okay, I need you to talk to yourself like you would have talked to me if I'd have done the same thing. And she just smashed everything I had did to myself. She fixed it quickly, and I was very grateful that she had done that. Choose a life of meaning and be purposeful in your actions. Be purposeful in your actions. So one of the things I'm going to ask you guys to do is to make an investment in yourself. I want you to choose a life of meaning and be purposeful in your actions. I'm going to ask you to make an investment in yourself. And this is a little side plug. I wrote a book called The Balanced Life, where I teach you how to have better financial resources, how to have a better life financially, relationship wise, your health and your mind and your spirit. So you can go on to lulu.com, www.lulu.com, look up The Balanced Life by John Bacon, and purchase that wonderful material. Also, my wife wrote a wonderful book called Healthy Relationships, a workbook through the life of faith. And that's having relationships, whether it's relationships with your spouse, relationship with your kids, relationships with your coworkers, relationship with your friends. It's a great book, great way to start your year off. So go and purchase that book. And then for some of you guys who are working through some grieving, you're working through some things. And when we say grief, I ain't talking about grief of people that just died. My wife had to work through the grieving process of her health not being once what it was. So she wrote a wonderful book called The Unraveling, a creative healing journal. And remember, we talked about on this podcast, you need to journal. So this will be a great investment into yourself by purchasing this wonderful material. And the last thing I want to say before we get out of here is I want you to be proud of your gift. I want you to be proud of the power that you use every day, the grit and the resilience during challenging times. I want you to give yourself kudos for guess what? You ought to be proud of yourself for not, because you wanted to cuss that person out. Ooh, you had every word on the tip of your brain saying, I'm going to call this money, and you ain't said. You ought to be proud of yourself. There were some times that you had to push through some, work environment wasn't all of what it needed to be. And you had to push through until they hired, because the person that was above you who got on your nerves, they fired them and they had to hire somebody else, and you had to go through their learning process. So guess what? You ought to give yourself kudos for stuff like that. Financially, you had to, suck it up and say, you know what, man, for 6 months, I ain't gonna spend no money on fast food or go out and purchase unnecessary things that I don't need, and I'm gonna get my credit score back. You ought to give yourself major kudos for that. Man, you said you was gonna lose 50 pounds, man, and you are on that way. You being able to feel good about yourself. Your cardio breathing is good, man. You feel your pants is getting bigger, so that means you getting littler. So yes, go buy you a new wardrobe. You ought to reward yourself for getting through some of the challenging times that you have been through. Man, I love you guys, and there will be a part 2 to this wonderful lesson here. So be prepared, because we're going to end the year off like we are with this wonderful lesson, and we are going to be excited for episode part 2 on January the 4th. We love you. Ain't nothing but love for you. I love you guys. God bless.